is COMP. COMP is a 501c3 charitable organization primarily made up of professional musicians, vocalists, songwriters, as well as veterans on the business and technical side of the music industry over the age of 55. COMP stands for Community of Older Music Professionals, and that's just what it is. Our mission is to celebrate, serve, and showcase mature music professionals. By the way, my name is Tim. The idea for COMP began right here in this office at Capricorn Sound Studios in downtown Macon early in 2020. After decades of working as an entertainment attorney in Nashville and Los Angeles and teaching music business courses at a couple of universities, I wanted to return to my roots here in Macon. I really had an urge to reacquaint myself with Macon's music community. The idea, which eventually became COMP, was just to get together periodically for lunch to reminisce, network, and meet new music people. That was originally the entire purpose of the organization. Now, I said I had the idea for COMP in early 2020. Then the pandemic happened. And as you know, COVID was especially cruel to older people, so COMP was put on hold for a couple of years. But during that time, before we had our first gathering, I began to think that maybe this organization could be more than just a group of people getting together to do lunch. Maybe we could do something for older musicians who might have a need. As an entertainment attorney, I represented lots of musicians, including Grammy winners, #1 songwriters, and multi-platinum artists. And some of those platinum-selling artists I represented experienced homelessness, addiction, and even suicide after their success. I know of several #1 songwriters who had to use GoFundMe campaigns because of illness and poverty. And as many of you know, the music industry is in a steady decline. In the last 25 years, there's been a steep drop in royalties paid to artists and songwriters because of illegal downloading and the shift in the industry to a streaming-based system. And by the way, I would estimate that more than 95% of musicians don't receive any royalties. So let me give you an example of how things are going for most musicians who make their money performing live. Back in the late 70s, I was a 16-year-old playing in a pretty good cover band. Sometimes I would make as much as $150 to play a gig. Fast forward to now, 50 years later, I still play a few gigs every year. And how much do I make? Well, the average is $150. In other words, lots of musicians are making the same thing now that they made 50 years ago. And although you might think the music industry would be the epitome of inclusiveness, their idea of inclusiveness usually excludes older music people, or at least in some parts of the industry. You don't see music artists over the age of 40 getting record deals or songwriters of a certain age getting publishing deals. All right, my little rant is over. COMP had its first lunch gathering in the spring of 2022 in downtown Macon with 12 music folks. Since then, we have grown to almost 1,000 members with 7 different chapters across the Southeast, including Nashville, Tennessee, Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, and of course here in Macon. We've done several performances to showcase our members. We have a COMP YouTube channel where we celebrate members. But for us to become a great organization, we need to serve our older music community because, as I mentioned before, many of our colleagues are hurting as a result of health issues, poverty, addiction, or all the above. As of 2024, we are a 501c3 charitable organization. We don't charge any fees or dues for members to join COMP, and in fact, we don't directly solicit our members for contributions to the organization. By the way, even before it became an official charity, COMP donated money to several older musicians. Our members performed at benefits for their musical colleagues. COMP gave away gift cards and paid for meals for some older music people. So, if you are a fan of music, you can help with your donations. That will aid an older musician in need. And if you are an older musician or a music industry veteran, join us. To become a member, you must be at least 55 years old and be or have been a professional musician, vocalist, songwriter, or a veteran of the music business on the business or technical side. For more information, find us on social media or on our website. Thanks for watching.